Peace. Here's an easy way to use ancestral energy and an easy example on how to harness ancestral energy. We all know 50 Cent, right? We all know the rapper 50 Cent, who turned movie producer, created power, right? Um, we know he's been successful in the music industry. I think he had a diamond album, the first album, Get Rich or Die Trying, which is a arguably a hip hop classic album, Get Rich or Die Trying. And we also know, he's been successful with his show on ABC for Life, and also with his show on Stars, Power, and now Power Book 2. And I think he's done some movies and other things like that, right? So, but the key with 50 Cent and harnessing ancestral energy, it's in his name. The energy of the true gangster out of Queens, 50 Cent. 50 Cent in New York City was notorious for doing robberies, for doing stick ups, being a hustler, you know, just a notorious street cat, right? Who died like street cats do. And his and for the young Curtis Jackson saw that, admired that about him, maybe knew him, maybe met him. I don't really know the depth of the story, of as far as that connection. But he took on the name. He took on the name. I mean, by taking on the name, he took on the energy, right? Because he's now an ancestor. Think about this. The fiat currency that we spend right now has ancestors' faces on it, right? It has Washington, Lincoln, right? Ancestors, dead people's faces. And we use that and we call it currency. So that means that it's also an exchange of energy. So the exchange of energy, right? The exchange of currency is always tied in to your ancestral or the ancestral realm, because you are directly tied into your forefathers, right? Isn't it about hustling and making sure the family's good, making sure the family's straight, and not hustling like scamming, but working hard, making things happen, creating things, creating opportunities, following your passions and your purposes, making money, things like that. So it's always been about family, always been about family. So family, even if you talk about royalty, the kings and queens and things like that, there's always been wealth transferred and power transferred through bloodlines. So look at Jesus. Jesus is a dead ancestor. Muhammad is a dead ancestor. Buddha is a dead ancestor. People are worshiping ancestors every day, eating Kellogg's. Kellogg's is a dead ancestor. His name is still on the box. His family is still making money from that, from cornflakes and Wheaties, right? Whatever other cereals Kellogg's have. So with 50 cents, what he did was he basically, by taking on the name, took on that energy matrix, not the physical. Of course, he didn't, I'm not talking about a ghost, right? Or some aberration, going inside of 50 Cent's body. What I am talking about is utilizing the energy, the ancestral energy that is available in use, because we are all unique. We all have our unique individual energy signature and vibration, but yet we are vibratory. So we are part of the whole. Everything has a vibration, everything has a frequency. So we are all part of the cosmology of the universe. We are all part of the matrix, so to speak. So even though we are, as people that seek wisdom, people that seek to exit the matrix, we are still part of the matrix as well. So we can't forget that. We're still in the system and we unplug, but we still have to plug in to do day-to-day duties. So when 50 Cent took on that name of that infamous gangster, that infamous robber in New York City, what he did is he took on the ruthlessness, the determination, the hunger, because to stick people up, to rob people, right? it's not such an easy thing for people as you may think it is. It's something where you have to be real brazen. There's cops. You could get locked up. You could get beat up. Right? It's something that takes some sort of courage, and also to be a person that is going to rob people. You have to be desperate. There's a lot of hunger, right? There's a lot of pain. You have to really be desperate if you want to just be a person to rob people, or you're just a motherfucker that has a lot of negative energy, right? And you're using that negative energy to propel yourself to the top. But that negative energy has a source. So whether that be childhood, and usually it's rooted in some sort of childhood poverty, childhood abuse, or childhood pain. Always childhood trauma, childhood poverty, childhood abuse, or childhood pain. So utilizing this ancestral energy, the way 50 Cent utilized the energy of the real 50 Cent, and it propelled them to the top. And what is 50 mainly still doing, even as a multi-millionaire mogul? He's still telling gangster stories. Power is a 50 Cent album, right? You hear these themes in 50 Cent's albums, right? And even the roles he plays. It's hard for me to separate him. Even when he plays a cop in some movie, it's still hard to separate him from 50 Cent. And he's best at when he's playing the dirty cop or when he's playing Kanan, right? So it's still that same grimy New York robber energy that he utilizes even in the corporate world. Look at what he does on Instagram, how he taunts and teases, and goes at people. So that gangster energy is still evident in his actual movement to this day, because he took on the energy of that ancestor. Look at Tupac Amaru Shakur. Now the name Tupac, I believe it was a ancient warrior, something like that. Amaru, also ancient warrior, right? These were people that were freedom fighters, and he also took on that name, and subsequently took on that energy. And also being a Gemini, he was dual sided. So there's times you'll see Pac wilding out, and there's times you see Pac that love the women, and there's times you see Pac that just wants peace, and there's times that you see Pac that wants freedom for all. Different sides, right? But all warrior like, and all strong, and all passionate, which the energy of those ancestors conveyed. So I'm not saying that you have to necessarily change your name, but what you can do is you could take on the energy of a particular ancestor, right? Again, by putting certain pictures on your cell phones. When certain black celebrities die that you admire, black celebrities die that you love, putting them on your cell phone, making them your your theme, or your what do they call it? Your logo. Well, not really your logo, your profile pictures, right? You could put them as your screensavers on your cell phone. You could put up pictures on your walls, pictures on your altars. And you could do this with any ancestor that you admire at any time. It doesn't just have to be when they die. But when they die, their presence is much stronger, and their energy resonates much higher, because everyone is tuned in. And attention is currency. Attention is energy. You pay attention, there's a charge. Just like you pay for something at the store, there's a charge. When you pay attention, there's a charge. So there's a charge of energy with whatever you look at. So as a collective consciousness, when a celebrity dies, or when someone that we all love or admire dies, there's a lot of energy going towards that person. So right now, Breonna Taylor's energy is on fire. It's on fire. It's actually a power source. So if someone named their child Brianna, right, they would have to really look at her life and her lifestyle and see if that's something that type of energy is what they want to embody, because chances are the energy of that particular ancestor is going to be part of that child's life. Because right now, this energy is at its peak. Look at the boxer, Tyson Fury, heavyweight champion. Tyson Fury is named after Mike Tyson. He says it. He was his father named him after Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson was at his peak. That's the way you use ancestral energy. You could use it by putting it on t-shirts, right? You could use it by printing out pictures, right? Certain items. All these are not calling, and I want to make it clear, this is not calling in ghost or calling on ghosts. This is harnessing, and this is entanglement, not Will and Jada though. This is entanglement, not August. This is entanglement. Light entanglement, where you're attaching yourself to someone's energy, right? When you attach yourself, it's similar to a key opening a lock, right? Because we are all magnetic beings. And even when your spirit transcends this physical form, your energy signature gets recycled back into the universe. So your energy signal, this energy body, this energetic you, the voice in your head when you close your mouth that speaks to you without your mouth moving, that part of you is what's leaving. That part of you that when your body is still and when you go to bed at night and you travel the astral realm and sometimes have dreams that feel as real as me talking right now. That part of you is always around, and that energy matrix is always able to be accessed. That's why if you watch the show American Gods on Stars, this is why the gods were saying that you know, if you look at where Easter, where they were dealing with Easter, the last episode of the first season, and there were a whole bunch of Jesuses. There was a Buddhist Jesus, a black Jesus, this and that, because Jesus was being worshipped as much as Easter, or more so than Easter. And Osiris, which was portrayed as Mr. Wednesday, but he's really Osir or Osiris, but Mr. Wednesday came in and was like, wow, there's a lot of Jesuses. And she was like, yeah, we pretty much share things, right? Because if the people don't pray to the gods, if the people don't pray to Jesus, if the people don't pray to Allah, if the people don't pray to the gods die. Why do the gods die? They die off because there's not a lot of energy being sent. Attention is currency. So it's very important what you name your children, now that you know better. It's very important the labels that you give your car. It's very important the labels that you give yourself. And not only in your own head, but also out loud. And what type of energy are you putting behind the things that you say about yourself? And also the things that you say about others. Because we live in a cyclical universe. We live in a circular universe. We live in a world that is spiral. We live in a galaxy that is obviously spirals, even if you think it's flat, which I don't. But if you think it's flat, you have to admit that it's a flat spiral, right? So it still goes in a circle. So everything in life, what goes around comes around, right? So the energy you put out into the universe will be the energy you will receive. That's really the whole backbone of magic, right? Putting out energy, doing certain rituals in order to bring about an outcome. Putting energy out to bring energy back. It's all the boomerang effect. It's all a circular effect. So I wanted to use this example because I feel like everyone knows who 50 Cent is. So it was very easy to see in his behavior, current day, how he is still influenced by that ancestral energy. He's still influenced by that energy matrix of that ancestor. And he may not even know it, but probably in his dreams, probably in his daydreams during the day, he probably gets visited by that voice because he is connected. He probably gets guidance from that voice You know, in his first 50 Cent's first album, he talked about God a lot, and he talked about prayer a lot. In Get Rich or Die Trying, he talked about God and he talked about prayer. He doesn't so much anymore, but what if when he was doing these prayers, when he was at his lowest, when he was down and out, that the voice that he thought or that was helping him, because we all have a voice in our head. Even if you think a person is an idiot, there's a voice in your head that helps guide you. There's voices in your head that help guide you. There's senses that you have to make a left here or make a right here. There's senses that you have when you walk in a room and you feel tension. There's senses that you have when you see someone that's beautiful or when you know that you're in love with someone, right? There's a sense that you have. That person doesn't even have to be here physically if you love them, but you're going to feel it, especially when it's that new, fresh love, fresh off the porch love. Ooh. So this is just an easy way for you to hack into the ancestral realm and get in tune with your ancestors. And it's the same thing if you want to get in, not just celebrity ancestors, not just street gangster ancestors, not just the Malcolms, the Martins, the Harriets, the Ida B. Wellses, and the you know, the I always forget her name. Francis Cress Welsings of the world, right? See Freeman Els. But if you want to tap in to Ivan Van Sertima's, Chancellor Williams, right? If you want to tap in to these people, these particular ancestors, right? But you don't have to. You could tap into people in your own bloodline, your aunt, your auntie, your grandfather, your cousin. You know, if you know these people, your great-great-grands, and if you knew that they had certain particular skills or particular abilities, right? You could utilize the energy of that particular ancestor by just being grateful and just being thankful. Being grateful and being thankful. And also just acknowledging that energy. Just acknowledging the life. 50 Cent is a big thing. 50 Cent is big worldwide, right? Everybody knows about 50 Cent. And if you know 50 Cent, if you know a little something about his story, you know that that is the name of a real gangster, a real robber in Queens. So that is light. That's now a shining light, right? So now that ancestor is bigger than life now, right? It's just like Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx playing Ray Charles. When Jamie Foxx when Jamie Foxx said he sat with Ray Charles and Ray Charles showed him everything and told him that he would be good, that he approved him, that Ray Charles approved Jamie Foxx playing him. And once he approved Jamie Foxx playing him, shortly after that he passed away. But the movie made Ray Charles' life huge. I didn't know much about Ray Charles until that movie. And it made me admire him even more. It made me admire that a black man in a Jim Crow South, a blind black man in Jim Crow South, could make it in America. If that's not power, if that's not energy, if that's not a bright light, if that's not a star, I don't know what is. Even notorious gangsters, Al Capone and Frank White, and you know, anybody you could think of, even the black gangsters that are dead, the Asian gangsters, any gangsters, if they resonated and you can remember them, there is energy behind them. That means a lot of people are thinking about them, and that means that they continue to live on. They continue to shine bright as a star in the sky, just like a star in the sky, because there is an energy exchange, there's an entanglement. So it's the same way, again, you worshiping Jesus, there's an energy that now Jesus is big. Jesus is big on the world, right? Jesus is bigger than Jehovah. Jesus is bigger than Krishna. Just because of the sheer amount of people that are giving praise and worship. Allah is bigger than Buddha because of the sheer amount of people that are giving praise and worship to Allah. But what happens when the people stop? There's no more energy. The energy weakens. It's just like if you're working out 5-6 times a day and you're eating one meal. That's not going to work. Eventually you're going to become weak because you don't have enough energy to sustain yourself, or even just being alive. Let's say you don't eat anything for 5 days. You don't have energy. You're going to become weak. You're going to become weak. Now, if you're on a fast or something, that's different, but let's say you didn't prepare for a fast and you just can't eat. You just don't have food. You're going to become weak. So you need energy to propel yourself. So the same way you need energy, the same way the gods need energy, it's the same way the ancestors need energy. And your responsibility is to tap into the ancestral realm. And how you tap into the ancestral realm is, one, you could do rituals. And this, again, the ritual, again, is simple as having a screensaver with your ancestors' face on it. It's as simple as having artwork that reflect your ancestors' greatness. It's as simple as having creating sigils. It's as simple as having symbols of ankhs or whatever, whatever ancestral. I don't care if you're using, Cthulhu or whatever type of ancestral thing that you attach yourself to. You are able to draw in that power. Whether it be light or dark, you're able to draw in that power and use it to your advantage. But remember, no matter light or dark, there's a price to pay for utilizing this energy. And the price is you start to take on some of these characteristics, right? So you also have to make sure that these are people that are inspirational to you and that you admire, but also have a sense of self as well. To know that you are not cloning someone, but you are just utilizing energy and utilizing it to your advantage. That's what all the rituals to the gods are. That's what all the rituals to the orishas are. That's what all the rituals that's what the ritual of funerals and the rituals of different ways of honoring the dead. South America, they have a whole Day of the Dead. And if you watch the movie, it's a Disney movie. Somebody will say it in the comments. I can't remember right now. But it's a Disney movie, and it's a cartoon, and it's about specifically keeping your ancestors alive and how your ancestors are able to help guide you once you acknowledge their existence and once you show your gratitude. And how you show your gratitude is simply by acknowledging their existence. And there's different combinations, of course, with putting certain herbs and things that they like, and herbs, fruits, candles, certain scents, things that are familiar, which is basically a mathematical combination, a key to unlocking energy. So these are things that we can do, and the best times to harvest this energy, or these type of energies, are new moons, full moons, equinoxes, and solstices. And we have a full moon coming up. We have another 2 supermoons on new moons. So these are times that we could tap in, and it's for at whatever purpose that you need it for. Even if it's an egotistical purpose. But that egotistical purpose could backfire. And I'm going to give you an example. and I'm gonna get off this. But let's say you do a ritual for some money, and right, you're utilizing a particular ancestor's energy, you know, and giving praise and praying his praise and giving homage, and you learned what this ancestor liked when they were alive, and you're putting certain offerings, right? You might have an altar, right? Different things like that. Now let's say you just say, I want $1 million, or I want $1 million, right? And this is something that you're putting into existence. You're going real hard, you're putting your energy, you're doing a lot of ritual, right? Now, let's say, unfortunately, you have to go through a car accident, you know, or you have to have some terrible accident. Let's say something falls. So I saw a story where a chair fell off of the top of a hotel building, like 80 floors, and hit this girl's head, you know? So yeah, now she's a multimillionaire. But now if you look at her, the side of her head is smashed in. So you have to be careful. Make sure that you honor these ancestors as well, right? 50 Cent, I'm sure, did not know what he was doing. I'm sure he did not know. He was doing this unconsciously. But he is still feeling the effects, right? Still reaping the rewards financially, but he's still feeling the effects, right? Of tapping into this energy of this dead ancestor. And again, like I said, you can see it in the success, how Jamie Foxx blew up by tapping into the success of Ray Charles prior to him, and then Jamie Foxx blew up. And you could also look at this with who else? You could look at, there's different people you could look at. I don't want to go into too many on here, but there's different people you could look at, and you'll see where they've basically harnessed themselves to ancestors, and they've basically utilized ancestral energy to your benefit. And again, you use ancestral every day. You use ancestral energy every day that you spend cash, because there is dead people on your dollar bills. And anyone that is religious is definitely tapped into ancestors, because they all worship dead people in some way, shape, or form. Jesus is a dead man. Muhammad is a dead man, right? The major Abrahamic religions, dead people. Even the Jews, Moses and Isaac, you know, Joseph, dead people. So all religion, all spirituality is based on the utilization of ancestral energy, the utilization of cosmic energy. And the more energy that you give any dead ancestor, the more powerful it will become. The more powerful it will become. So really, if people wanted, and I know I said in closing before, but if people really wanted justice for Shorty, for Brianna, right? What they would simply do is, on these next couple of super moons, is tap in, not to her energy, but tap into different warrior classes of energy in the communities. And not everyone, it could be different pockets of people. And then what they do is let the universe do its job. And then you'll start to see allies come out of nowhere. You'll start to see things form out of nowhere. You'll start to see things happen to these officers and these officers' families that are unexplained, that are so-called supernatural. Because now you're putting energy into the environment, and now you're directing and focusing energy based on utilizing the power of the collective conscious. The fact that we all breathe the same air, no matter the race, culture, or creed. So we can affect the environment at any place or time. So just wanted to tap into this. I'm gonna try to give y'all an easy way to understand this, and to let y'all know it's not as complex as y'all think. Simple tools can be used to get into these frequencies. You know, if you're talking about every time these YouTube videos come out, when a celebrity dies and they say there's a ritual, Chadwick Boseman, there's a ritual. Nipsey Hussle, it's a ritual. Kobe, it's a ritual. Aretha Franklin shit, it's a ritual. Everyone, it's a ritual, right? But what they never say are the rituals that they're doing. The person that's exposing it on the YouTube video never talks about the rituals that they're doing to counter the other people's rituals. They could decode the fuck out of the ritual, but they don't have rituals that they're doing. They don't have rituals that they're doing to combat those rituals. There are wars in the spirit world. There's war in the spirit world right now. As above, so below. As above, so below. The battle is not against black and white. The battle is not against races, cultures. The battle is against good and evil. So what are the ancestors that you're paying attention to? What are the ancestors that you're tapped into? Or are you tapped into any at all? Man, the deities, that you have, the Oyas and the, Herus and the Oshuns and the Lakshamis and all these different deities are great to have those energies. Those are ancestral energies that you're tapping into, because many people are tapped into Shango and Ogun and Oshun and Haru and Osir and Oset, many people. So there's a lot of energy behind it. So you're already on track, right? But don't think that you're limited to just that. You have millions of people between your mother and father that are behind you, that are in your own ancestral line. So honor them as well in your rituals. When you pour your libations, when you take your showers, when you brush your teeth, when you daydream, when you take a walk, when you're driving. Keep your ancestors in mind, because they will guide you, and they will guide you to people that will help you and aid you in all ways, shapes, and form. Again, look at 50 Cent. He did this unconsciously, right? Did not Farrakhan utilize the energy of Elijah Muhammad to propel himself? Peace, power, and prosperity. Rob Blackstorm. Like, share, subscribe. I love y'all. I'm going to have a next round of elemental magic classes starting in October. So be on the lookout for that. And I hope y'all have a great day, great night, whenever you're watching this, and a great evening. And I pray that your path to enlightenment is filled with joy, wonder, and awe, and love. Again, peace, power, and prosperity. Rob Blackstorm. Like, share, subscribe.